Hi everyone, and welcome to Business English Chapter 1. Today we're going to look at banking on a good sentence structure. What I'd like you to do, if it's possible, you do have the PDF of the actual chapter itself. This is certainly a PowerPoint on the chapter. You can follow along with the PDF. If you have information here that you're not sure of, you can write it down and ask me, or you can look it up in the PDF chapter. Great. So here we go. So sentence structure, what is a sentence? A sentence is a group of words which expresses a complete thought and it makes sense grammatically. So what does that mean? A group of words expresses a complete thought and makes sense grammatically. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at that exactly. What comprises a sentence when it comes to a group of words? What does it mean to be a complete thought? And also what makes sense grammatically. So let's get started. First and foremost, sentence has to have a subject. So a subject is a person or a thing spoken about. It is usually a noun or a pronoun. So example, bank, customer would be nouns, and we or they would be pronouns. Let's continue. Also in a sentence structure, a predicate, not a predicate or predicate, predicate expresses what the subject does or what is done to the subject. So a predicate certainly is a verb, a review, approve, will review, has been approved. So predicates are actions and also expresses what the subject does or what is done to the subject. And also in a sentence fragment, which will make it not a complete thought, is a sentence fragment is a group of words that does not express a complete thought. It is grammatically incorrect. So this is really important in the English language. What is the difference between a complete thought and one that is fragmented? So here's an example. The bank will approve immediately, period, right? So you got the period telling you the sentence has stopped, finished. Now, if you read that, the bank will approve immediately. It will approve what immediately? So there's nothing there that follows the predicate will approve or the subject, the bank. So the bank will approve immediately what? So the sentence is fragmented. We're missing an object here to make the actual action of what is approved. And as you can see, the sentence that follows, or the fragment that follows, banks that offer many services, period. So here certainly you can make a sentence using these two fragments, but as they stand there in front of you, the sentences are fragmented. Okay, so a complete sentence, here's an example of a sentence that contains a complete subject and a predicate. The bank will approve the mortgage application. Subject bank, verb will approve, sentence makes sense. The bank will approve what? The bank will approve the mortgage application. So there has to be a complete thought. Here we have one, and what we just saw before, it was not a complete thought. All right, so here are 5 sentences that you could look at, and you can pause the video and correct them or do the exercise. So here's directions. In the following statements, add the words to make them complete sentences. Number 1, banking on the internet. Make that into a complete thought. Number 2, finance charges on this month's statement. Not a complete thought. It's fragment. So make that into a complete thought. It doesn't matter how you make it, just do your best to make it. Try to do it. And number 3, the bank that opened a branch in our town. Again, not a complete thought. Number 4, the depositor as a preferred client. Okay, not a complete thought. And number 5, opening an IRA account. Again, take the time to pause and write down the complete sentences in the actual sentences fragmented here into complete sentences. So you can pause, but we will keep going. Now we'll look at, when we talk about sentences, we'll look at capitalization. Capitalization shows which words are important or need to be emphasized. This is critical. Please understand the value of doing this in sentence structure, because if you don't capitalize, or if you do capitalize the wrong words, it will express the wrong thought and the sentence will be wrong. Okay? So when can you capitalize? Let's look at the rules. Again, we will start with rules. We have already seen 2 rules. We'll go back one second, right? If you look at the subject matter, and if you look at the predicate, now we'll look at capitalization, which will bring us to rule 1.3. The first word of a sentence is capitalized. This is all the time. This is a rule. So here's an example. Our local bank will be closed on Saturdays. Our is the first word of the sentence. It has to be capitalized. If you do not capitalize it, it will be wrong and won't read properly. All right. So all along, like I said, every chapter we're going to do will have rules, and you need to understand the rules to do well in this course. Rule 1.4, proper names, days of week and months are always capitalized. So what are proper names? Proper names are usually names that have to do with certain companies or days or people, and so they always become proper names. So here's an example of a proper name. The Hartsdale Savings Bank, proper name, will have extended hours beginning Monday, September 1st. Now, please pay attention. The reason the word the is capitalized is because of rule 1.3, which is the first word of the sentence has to be capitalized. If the Hartsdale Savings Bank was not at the beginning of the sentence, the will not be capitalized. But here it is capitalized because it's the first word of the sentence. If not, it will not be. So the Hartsdale Savings Bank is a proper name and will have extended hours beginning. Now again, days of the week. Monday is the days of the week. This has to be capitalized. Months, September 1st, September has to be capitalized all the time. Beginning of sentences, end of sentences, it doesn't matter. Proper names are always capitalized. Here, like I said before, very quickly, the is not a proper name. It's because it's the first word of the sentence. This is the reason why it's capitalized. All right, here's another rule. This is rule 1.5. Abbreviations of well-known organizations and common business terms are usually capitalized. Usually meaning that there might be exceptions, but most of the time we're going to look at or the examples I will be giving you in class and so on will always be capitalized. So here's an example. Jeff opened an IRA account at the bank, which is FDIC insured. Now it doesn't really matter what the abbreviations stand for, but they have to be capitalized. So let's say we look at RRSP as an account here in Canada, that has to be capitalized. Or TFSA, that has to be capitalized also. That is rule 1.5, abbreviations. Rule 1.6, capitalize all major words in the title of books, periodicals, and newspapers. Again, capitalize all major words in the title of books, periodicals, and newspapers. Here's an example. MLA Handbook is an excellent reference book for writers. Yes, handbook is just an ordinary word, but in this case here, it's a title of a book. So the title of the book, MLA Handbook, has to be capitalized. So this is where it has to be, you have to be very careful, because you might have similar words or common words that you will find in the English language that sound common and are not titles, but depending on where it is and what it means, you have to designate it as a book title, which means in this case has to be capitalized. Let's keep going. Rule 1.7. Capitalize words derived from proper nouns. These words are used as adjectives. So in many cases, if you have the continent Asia, let's say here this is an example, which is a proper word, but this is the Asian bank will merge with a European investment firm. Now Asian and European, the bold words here, are not nouns. They are adjectives. They really describe the bank, Asian, and the investment, European. So these are not proper. They are derived from proper, but they still take the capital letter. So Asian is capitalized, European is capitalized. So here is a review. So here you can pause, and directions in the following sentences capitalize words where needed, and you can see that I do have the key at the bottom in this case, so you can take a look at it. So here we go. The promotional rate for 1 year CD ends on Friday, and you can have the answer below. I give you the answers in this one, just for sure. Make sure that you understand. The monthly magazine Personal Investing will publish a Spanish edition beginning in January, so you can capitalize that. Maybe you should not look at the answers and try it out first. Number 3, National Trust Bank will open a branch in our town in September. So there you go. So you do have the answers there, the key at the bottom. But if you cannot look and just try to guess, figure out what it is before you actually look at the key in this case. All right, so now proofreading and editing. So here are some tips and that have to do with this chapter. So after the initial draft of a document, proofreading and editing are essential in providing an effective letter or report, right? This is really important in all that you do when it comes to English. As much as you write, you always need to proofread it, and you always need to do some editing. So proofreading focuses on correcting errors in the following: spelling, punctuation, capitalization, grammar, and also the use of words or word usage. Editing allows the writer to review the document for clarity, focus, and smooth reading of the matter. So no matter what you write, and this is really important also in business, when you do write emails, and if you are in a hurry to write an email, or you need to write a business plan, or you need to write any kind of documents where all of these factors of English are important when it comes to spelling, punctuation, capitalization, grammar, or word usage. If you write a CV, if you write for an application for a job, if you write a cover letter, a thank you letter, right? These are really important parts of your daily lives that could or not give you a possibility of getting the job, let's say, if you are applying for a job. Interviewers or managers will look for these things, and it's really obvious. In most cases, they don't even have to look, because it's going to be obvious if you're not punctuating properly, if you're not capitalizing properly. So please understand the value of doing this in English. You cannot not capitalize words all the time, or if you do once and you don't do it again, it really gives out the wrong message. Okay, so please understand the value of proofreading and also editing anything that you write before you send it to anybody, like again, emails, CVs, and business plans. All right. So good letter writing corresponds should be clear, easily understood. It has to be complete. We talked about structures of sentences and fragments. Give all the necessary facts. Concise. You have to avoid some wordiness. Again, this is a business course. In most cases, you need to get to the message of what you're trying to say right away. Wordiness is mostly for novels and stories or for narrative. This is not what we're looking at. Correct, again, no errors. And we have the fortune of having Word that spell checks everything. And we also have Grammarly that you could use also. And there's also Antidote, which is a great software that will help you correcting errors. But you need to do it. You need to pay attention when you actually write, and you need to pay attention for mistakes. If you're not careful with that, then you can lose a job, or could lose your own job if you already have it, or the possibility of getting one. Consistent, write logically. This is sometimes difficult to do, but if you always have a thought, that process that you want to do, think about it always logically. Courteous, convey a friendly, helpful tone. We can look at this about formal writing versus informal writing. In business, we always have to be formal, no matter what. And especially if you're working in an organization and you're sending out emails, you need to be using this good letter writing right here when all these C's that you have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 C's. When it comes to writing, you need to have a good understanding of the 6 C's. Here's a few pointers, right? Informational letter. Open focuses always on the message. In other words, when you write a letter or CV, or I should say a thank you letter or cover letter, you need to express your thought right away. You need to say right away what you're trying to say in the message. So that's why you always focus on the message immediately in the sentence, in the actual paragraph. So right to the point, that means always be concise. Appeal to readers' needs. So if you are writing for a cover letter, you certainly have to understand what are the readers' needs. They're looking for someone to fill a position. Tell them that, and only that you are the person that they're looking for. Always be very factual when you do write in business. Don't express thoughts or emotions. You need to express facts. And in English writing, you always end every letter that you write, specifically if you are writing for in a workplace, you need to always end in a positive tone. Right? So we'll leave you with this last thought about writing pointers. If you're writing a promotional letter, you need to attract attention with strong opening statement, appeal to readers' needs, state objectives of the promotional offer, be specific, and close with action statement to motivate a customer. So these pointers are mostly for customer service, and please pay attention to what customer means. Customer does not always mean somebody in a store that's going to buy something from you, but a customer could also be a work associate or family member or anybody that you want to express something or you want to promote something. So this is really important to understand, and please pay attention to what that means. A customer is not always a customer where they will buy something, but also could be someone that is close to you. Great. So I'll leave you with that, and we'll finish off chapter 1, and we will go into chapter 2. Thank you.